third graders, Mrs. Hales here with day 2 of our weaving project. Today we're going to turn our weavings into something else. And so what I mean by that is you're going to make a frame out of black construction paper that's in the shape of something. So it could be a heart or it could be an animal's face. And then we're going to give, using white and black construction paper, we're going to give that shape a little bit more personality, like maybe eyes or whiskers or a nose, something like that. Some spots or dots, anything like that that you want to add to it is fine. Remember last class we talked all about weaving and how all fabric is either woven, knitted, or like polar fleece would be kind of spun and then compressed. So it's, and most fabric today is made on a machine. So it's super cool to learn how to weave by hand, because that's how things used to be made a long time ago. And it's a super fun skill to know how to do. All right, let's get started with finishing today's project. Supplies you're going to need today include a black piece of paper, the same size as the paper that you used to weave your strips into last week. So it should be about 9 by 12 inches. You're going to need glue, and you're going to need some white scraps of paper, and you might need some black scraps of paper, although you can use what you cut out as your black scraps. And you're going to need some scissors, and that's it. First, you want to fold your black paper in half, line up your corners and your edges before you make your crease. Using a pencil, you want to draw half of whatever shape you're going to make onto that paper. So I started with a heart because that's a pretty simple shape that everybody can draw. And then you want to open that frame up, and that's going to be your frame around your weaving picture. Whatever you're drawing, a heart or an animal head or whatever, you want to make sure that it's not so large that it takes up all of your black paper. You can see on my frame in just a second here, the bottom point, there's really not enough frame right there. So you want to make your heart or your animal head a little bit smaller. You still want it to be big, but you don't want it to take up all of the black frame. You want your black frame to be strong enough that it won't rip. It'll stay together so you can get it glued over your weaving. Now for the next one, I want to show you how to make an animal head. So I thought that would be better suited if I folded my frame in half the other direction. So lengthwise, I folded it in half instead of horizontally folding it in half. I want to make a mouse on this one. So I'm going to make his head a little bit smaller and pointy at the bottom where his nose is going to go, because I want to have room at the top for a large ear. If you mess up on one half of your paper like I did, you can flip it over and use the other half of your paper. I'm also going to cut out some black whiskers out of this paper, but I'm not going to cut them out where I drew them just now. I'm going to cut them out from my black scraps in a minute when I'm finished cutting out. So you want to keep your animal heads, you want to keep that shape kind of simple. You can always add some character and some personality on top of your weaving later. So I cut out my animal head. I'm going to glue it on over top my weaving. Don't worry if you have some parts of your weaving hanging out. You can always go back later and trim that. I'm going to glue the edge of my black paper and also the edge where it meets around where the animal head was cut out. You don't need a lot of glue. You just need a little bit of glue. I'm going to press that down and smooth it out. And I'm going to trim where that extra weaving was hanging out. And now I'm going to make some details. So I want to draw some big eyes. I've got my paper folded in half, so I only have to draw and cut once, and I'll get 2 white eyes that are the same size and shape. They don't have to be perfect circles. They just have to be round. I'm going to get those eyes glued down where I want them. And then I'm going to start using my black scraps of paper to make some more details like pupils and a little black nose and some whiskers. I could have freckles. I could have decorated the inside of his or her ears. There are all kinds of things you can add to your animals. And here's my little mouse with his whiskers. I could have given him sunglasses or a bow tie. There's all kinds of things you can do. That's all for today, third graders. Be creative with your shapes that you create and also with how you give that shape or that animal some personality. So you could add polka dots, or you could even add some cutouts or some designs onto the black frame part. I hope you have fun with these, and I will see you next class. I am going to leave you with a handout of some simple animal drawings and shapes that you can use to get your creative juices flowing. Of course, you're not limited to these designs.